What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good evening. Cold in Little Rock today. I just got done wrapping up a class probably just a few minutes ago. Final presentation. Definitely not as easy to do as you think, but at least it was over Zoom. We got it done. Teacher liked it. Now I'm here getting this done so I can get in this house, get in this heat, and chill. So let's talk about it. Chris Paul sent home. They sent him home. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this the end for Chris Paul? Let me know in the comments. Let's watch a video that's talking about some of the rumors that could have possibly happened. Let's check this out real quick.
Just talking to a few different people over there and just trying to understand what transpired in the early morning hours of this team being in Atlanta. But from what I've gathered, that brought an end to this abruptly was there was a few scenarios and which CP was holding people accountable from players to staff, from coaching staff up to the front office. And
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
When you reach a certain age, when you think he's 39, 40, something like that, you have less tolerance for foolishness. You have less tolerance for the lollygagging. And I know people always say, what about the love of the game? But he won't do that. So allegedly he's calling out the front office. It was Lawrence Frank. He seemed like a pretty petty kind of guy. Allegedly seemed like a pretty petty guy, calling out the players, and he got sent home. Now, what makes this tricky, he didn't get released. He got sent home. There's a difference. We're going to talk about that. That's pretty tricky.
From what I understand, there was a situation where he even addressed the team and apologized and said, look, my criticisms are coming from a good place. I want us to be a good team. I want us to get this thing right. And he was just holding guys accountable. Now, how some of that talk was taken or interpreted, that's up for the players and the coaching staff that was involved and how they felt about it. And then down the line, there was another scenario where, he was critical of front office as well. And I think that was the one that broke the camel's back.
So are we living in the age where people take criticism the wrong way? Are we living in the age that any criticism will not be tolerated? Let me know in the comments.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
They said it was cool when he criticized the players and he apologized, but when he criticized the front office, it was. So the Clippers are getting backlash for it. They're waiting on Chris Paul to talk about it, but this happens more than what you think. Even for us regular people in the corporate world, we've seen this. Somebody top level or some say something crazy about the company or talk crazy to another person that gets sent home. Management happens a lot. Egos get inflamed, pride gets involved, and then people get sent home. And then after that, they either released regular people that get terminated. It just depends. Because it's really hard to come back from it because of the pride and ego. Let's finish this out, then we'll move on to the next one.
camel's back when he had, some criticisms for the front office as well. I think that's what brought this to a head in the early hours in Atlanta. Like I said, I'm in Atlanta. The Clippers are in Atlanta. It was about, 3-something in the morning. For whatever reason, I was up, but I was up. And, and that's what I was understood, but for a player who's going to go down as a Hall of Famer, for somebody who's going to, possibly have the opportunity to be the first jersey retire in the Raptors over there at the Intuit Dome and be the first to represent Lob City and be the first person to represent the Clippers.
All right, that's enough of that. You got to check those emotions, man. You got to think he's in his last year. He thought that this team was going to be pretty good, not on the losing streak like they are now, but they are losing. And he probably see players not playing full effort. He probably seeing them play around in practice. He's probably don't like the front office. You remember he played for the Clippers once before. I'm bewildered on why they re-signed him or why he went there. But sometimes the bag, you got to collect them checks, man. But now they done sent them home. So what makes this tricky, in my opinion, is they didn't release him. I don't know if that's coming because teams are real petty. They won't release you. They'll just say you sent home, and they'll keep you on a roster or put you on an IR or something, injured reserve, and just hold you hostage because so you can't go to another team. So it's tricky, man. It's unfortunate with him being a Hall of Famer. They already got clouds looming over their head with the Kawhi Leonard situation. I heard that he had a good relationship with Kawhi Leonard. So it's just interesting, man, how he got to this point. Very interesting. Now, let's get to the man at hand. Lane Kiffin. I talked about it a little bit the other day, but let's really get into it. First of all, found this on, I think, TikTok. Well, he said it's not about the money. Let's talk about this
through the
for a second.
process. Okay, I'm never going to make a decision on money, and
In that manner, this is just.
I don't know what my contract is here. That's not very financially responsible. Okay, I'm sure.
So let's start it over. Hold on.
I said through the process. Okay, I'm never going to make a decision on money.
So I'm gonna flush that. Either he wrote this or he's selling an awesome dream. He's selling the magic beans in the press conference. He said he didn't make the decision on money. I got 91 million reasons why he did make it on money. But that's just my opinion.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
They offered him $4 more million than what he was making at Ole Miss. And allegedly, it was rumored that Florida and LSU went on a bidding war. But LSU won because they offered him $4 more million. But people will tell you anything. It's up to you whether you believe it or not.
And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what my contract is here. That's not very financially responsible. Okay.
You don't know what your contract is, but I guarantee your legal team know what your contract is. They told you this is a good deal.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
There's a lot of capping going on. You may not know what the money was, but your lawyer told you what the money was because they read the contract too. But let's keep listening.
I'm sure it's really good, okay? I don't know what it is, nor did I know at the other places what the numbers were. Because I said in the beginning, I told Jimmy Sexton, don't tell me the numbers, okay? I want to make a decision that has nothing to do with money for me. Now, tell me the numbers in the plan for what the money is for the players. Because that's everything in that area to me. I said,
sound good, but cap.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
It's a cap. It's all about the money, y'all. Don't fall for that stuff. Somebody says it's not about the money. Oh, it's not about the money. I'm not here for the money. It's all about the money. So what it's all about. You don't do it if it's not for the money. You crazy? And for those who think that Lane Kiffin is not about the money, I got something I'm going to show you. It's called the job history of, does it even matter anymore? Job history. You know, for regular people, we understand that how you leave a job is important. Your experience is important. They even ask you on application, do you have any lapse of judgment? I mean, lapse in work history. Did you put in a 2 weeks notice? And they ask you this in interviews. How was your work experience there? They ask you these things. When you work in the regular world, if you got on your job that you started this job at this day and you left in 2 weeks, you better be very good at what you do, or you better be very well connected in the corporate world. Because if not, that's going to hurt you more than it helps you. But let's look at this video of a job history rundown of Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin. Let's check this out real quick.
Very much so. It was January of 07.
This is when he
when I
first
was
started
excited
coaching the
about the naming of
Raiders.
a new head coach of the Raiders, a young
And
guy.
they
He had
said he was a
dynamic.
fraud. Allegedly,
I
they
thought
said
that
he was fraud. He
carried
defraud.
the
He
flag,
was
carried the torch of the
running
Raiders.
game
It was
on
after a
Al
short
Davis,
period
and
of
Al
time
Davis had to fire him.
that I realized I didn't hire the person I thought I was hiring. When this morning I called Lane and told him that he no longer is the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, and I'm dismissing him with cause, and that I just couldn't go on much longer with the what I would call propaganda, the lying that had been going on for weeks and months.
So he said that this guy was running propaganda and lies for weeks and months. He had to call and fire him. How many people do you know in the regular world, or people that, depending on what side of the track you on, they could get away with that? It won't hurt them for a while. But somehow he was still able to get another job. Not a job working at like Texas El Paso or, some Division III college. This dude went and worked for like another good job.
And a year and time.
Thanks for coming, guys. This was not an easy decision. It was something that happened very quick, and a decision that myself and my family made. And we've been here 14 months. The support has been unbelievable here. I really believe that this is probably the only place that I would have left here to go, was to go.
So he leaves the Raiders, eventually finds a job at University of Tennessee. That is an awesome rebound. How do you, in the NFL, in the pros, and they call you out, and then you go get a job in college at a SEC school, and then before the season even starts, he leaves UT and goes to USC?
Southern Cal, and there's so many people to thank, so I'm just going to be children there can say I'm very thankful to all the Tennessee people the way they welcome myself and my family. And it's been an exciting time.
So he leaves Tennessee, goes to USC because he inherited Pete Carroll's recruiting class and rolled out that wave. And then he didn't bring in any talent to replace the wave. And then he eventually gets fired by USC.
On our plane at about 1 o'clock, I told Lane I'd like to see him after we arrived back in Los Angeles. By the time Lane and I got together, it was close to 3 this morning. We met for about 45 minutes in a private room off where we at the airport where we landed. Lane was clearly disappointed. He's a great recruiter. He battled me. He really tried to keep his job, and I respect him for that.
That was just a decision that I came up with.
So, fired from USC. Go gets an offensive coordinator job at Alabama. Right before a championship game, was approached by Nick Saban, said he wasn't prepared as an OC. They let him go. They said he leaves Alabama, but it's another rumor out there that he was let go because he wasn't prepared. However, he still was let go or left another job, bouncing around. I'm telling you, in the regular world, bouncing around is not safe. It can land you in a weird position when you go to look for another job. But some people have the privilege. He leaves Alabama for FAU, right?
And was very difficult to do. This was not something that Nick Saban forced me to do by any means. If I wanted to coach this game, I would have coached this game. And I just thought that it wasn't the best thing for the players. And I saw Kirby struggle with it a year ago. I didn't want to have that feeling that we lost the game because I wasn't 100% focused.
Is that Kiffin will get.
So this is the problem with Ole Miss, right? They're salty. They're mad. But when they went and got Lane Kiffin, they got him from FAU the same way LSU got him from Ole Miss. They knew his history. It was public. They knew how he got down. It was public. You know it's bad when Nick Saban put you out there. They knew that, but they still took a chance. They still put all the chips in. They took a risk, and it worked.
Another chance to coach in the SEC. A person familiar with the negotiations says Ole Miss is working out the details to hire Kiffin as its next head football coach.
It's hard to imagine this ending any way but bad. And by the way, that's usually how most relationships with Lane Kiffin end, Matt. So this is par for the course. All the people that thought we had a new Lane Kiffin are finding out we don't. While his team has been having a glorious season, getting ready for maybe an SEC game, ultimately the college football playoff, he's been working overtime trying to figure out where he wants to go, other than the current job that he has. He ruled Florida out for myriad reasons, bad vibe, didn't like some of the things Scott Strickland had done, maybe didn't like Scott Strickland, period, and is now going to LSU, which has an interim AD, we think. Everybody's new, but what LSU has is an infrastructure that Lane Kiffin knows well. He's competed a million times now.
So let's talk about this for a minute. He leaves Ole Miss and goes to LSU. The question that I have, I've seen this on a regular level, happens all the time. I talked about this on the video. A lot of jobs, they cannot, a lot of companies, there comes a point in the road where they cannot afford to keep their top talent. They just can't afford it. No difference than a college team, no difference than some NFL teams. Somebody's going to come and offer that person more money based on their value. And the company cannot afford to match. Sometimes they won't match. They'll say, we wish you the best of luck on your future endeavors. Ole Miss, salty. Why? I don't know. if you know that this guy's heating up on the market and you can't offer him more money, you just got to consider it a loss. You're going to lose him. He's shown you over time. You should have learned from the Tennessee situation. Anything better come, he's going to leave. Now, the next question is, have we been tricked into corporate loyalty? Because it's people like Lane Kiffin that's showing us something different. Now, everybody can't do this, granted. Everybody can't jump around like this. This is definitely, it makes you wonder, how is he able to land these kind of jobs given the work history that he has? And that's one thing I want to let us know, is you have to increase your value no matter what level that you own. You have to increase your value. You can't always be at entry level. Now, his results is not going to be my results. I can't do that. But it does show me that value, even if you run into the race barrier, if you have a high enough value, you will find an opportunity. It may not be as many as somebody like he has, but value is important for anybody, any level, any color. I don't care if you're apple or orange. Value is important. But you also got to understand privilege. Everybody doesn't have the same privilege. That's just how the world works. There is no such thing sometimes as an even playing field. And this shows it. His job history is public. He was fired by an NFL team. Somehow, the college teams know his history, but they still employ him. And even in that, what makes it even more unique is that he has built some college program. He really built up Ole Miss. If anything, I would say he kind of demystified some of his job history by what he did at Ole Miss. However, somebody offer you $4 million more than what you're making. I don't care who you are. You're going to take it. Let me say it one more time. If somebody offer you $4 million more than what you're making, you hopping on a private jet and you going to LSU. I know he said he wanted to coach Ole Miss. They wouldn't let him. But I promise you, when he was flying back to LSU on a private jet, he was not tripping. And people say, well, what about the kids? It's a business. If you're going to a college, just like even at work, sometimes when you get a job, you get hired in, and everybody, the crew that's there, everybody's cool. It's a cool crew. But I promise you, when the talent or leadership of your crew, they talent get out there, sometimes the top person will leave, and next thing you know, he called back to some of those people and take those with him wherever he go. It happens all the time. What can you do about it? A place that I worked at one time, top guy left, went to another college, called another guy that was in leadership, and he could not turn it down. They give you offers that you can't refuse. Like Ole Miss is not a big city, so they probably can't afford to pay what a LSU could pay. It's a whole nother level of money, whole nother market. Same way with the regular job world. Like in Little Rock, it's not as big as Bentonville. Bentonville may not be as big as Texas. Texas may not be as big as New York or Florida, where they probably pay more depending on what your value is. But for regular people, let's say if you're making 70,000, then somebody in Bentonville say we could give you 180, 200,000. What are you gonna do? You gonna say no to that? You gonna be loyal to the company that you work for? They can only give you 70, and then if you go tell them to match it, they can't match that. So we have to be realistic, man, about what's going on here. They can be salty all they want, but when you know you have talent, you have to do what you can to retain the talent. If you don't, you're going to lose the talent. It's the jungle out there, and the big eat the little sometimes. That's how it works. Ole Miss is really not the big school, and they showed that they Ole Miss because they was salty when he accepted the job at LSU. And when you understand that you're a business, that's what you got to have the mindset. I'm a business. I'm offering them a service. And when my service becomes valuable, they're going to either match it or they're going to lose out because my services cost more than what they can pay. And that's what happens. Lane Kiffin services cost more than what Ole Miss could pay. And there's nothing to be salty about. You just lost in a competition battle. That's how capitalism works. That's how the world works. But it's cool when it's in your. It's cool when he did the FAU. It was cool when he did the FAU. But now LSU did you the same way. It just goes to show you. Due diligence, important. Job history is important. It's an indicator of what you're getting. And it was totally obvious. Nothing to be salty about. You just lost because you couldn't afford to pay for the services that he provided. This is Mike, CTM Sports. Thanks for watching. Who watched this later? Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Help us grow. Help us reach that 1K so we can reinvest back into the channel. CTM Sports, and I will catch you on the next CTM Sports.
There can be only one. Here we are.